that so far. So we'll see where all that goes. The story remains Floyd Mayweather. 41 wins, no losses, and these are not close fights. These are not situations where his dominance is in some way being challenged. Thus, the enormous public desire to see Manny Pacquiao fight him, because frankly, there does not appear to be another ship on the horizon. For the moment, Floyd Mayweather is sailing free with only the Filipino frigate somewhere close to him. We'll see if it ever takes place. Meanwhile, thanks for being with us tonight. Mayweather versus Mosley has been brought to you by MGM Grand, City of Entertainment in Las Vegas. Cerveza Tecate, con carácter. AT&T, rethink possible. DeWalt, guaranteed tough. StubHub, where fans buy and sell tickets, sellers get set the ticket price. Iron Man 2, in theaters May 7th. And by HBO Pay-Per-View, the best in pay-per-view entertainment. Brought to you by HBO. We'd also like to thank the following internet partners. Plus, you can get exclusive updates from HBO's Facebook and Twitter sites, and as always at HBO.com, the online home of HBO Boxing. And now for our entire crew, I'm Jim Lampley, saying so long from Las Vegas, Nevada. Of the world, Mayweather, widely recognized as the best in the sport, has never the natural size and strength of Carlos Baldomir. And while Floyd remains a solid favorite in the fight, many believe Baldomir possesses the tools to give Mayweather all he can handle. Baldomir versus Mayweather is being brought to you by Mandalay Bay, boxing at its best. Tycoon Armagnac, you don't just sip it, you live it. True Dat Entertainment, the leader in urban talent and music. Icelink watches, exclusive timepieces. And by HBO Pay-Per-View, the best in pay-per-view entertainment, brought to you by HBO. Carlos Baldomir has not lost a fight in almost 8 years, yet he seemed to come out of nowhere in 2006 with victories over Zab Judah and Arturo Gatti, both of whom he beat in their hometowns. Tonight, he promises to shock the boxing world one more time by knocking out Floyd Mayweather in his hometown of Las Vegas. Mayweather enters tonight's bout supremely confident that his speed and skills will be too much for Baldomir to handle. And few have been more dominant in big fights over the course of their careers than Mayweather, who looks to turn in yet another brilliant performance while claiming Baldomir's 147-pound world championship. Tiger Woods, Denzel Washington, Charles Barkley, Magic Johnson, James Toney, Tommy Lasorda, Pete Rose, many others, including Michael Jordan, here to honor Floyd Mayweather, who is regarded as the best active fighter in the world and who is taking on an extremely tough challenge tonight in fighting Carlos Baldomir, or so we say. One thing that could make it tough, the absence of Mayweather's regular trainer, Roger Mayweather, whose uncle, who has trained him for the past few years. He wouldn't have been here tonight anyway, and let's take a look at the reasons why. Because of this melee that took place in the 10th round of Mayweather's fight earlier this year against Zab Judah, when Judah fouled Mayweather twice and touched off the in-the-ring brawl that was prompted by the arrival over the top rope of Roger, or through the ropes, I should say, of Roger Mayweather to, in his view, defend his nephew from mayhem. Roger was suspended by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. He would have been able to train his nephew for the fight in the gym, but not to be here tonight to talk to him in the corner. But then in September, Roger Mayweather was convicted of battery in an incident involving the grandmother of one of his children. And because of that conviction, he is serving a 6-month sentence in the Clark County Detention Center. Earlier today, our camera visited the Clark County Detention Center, where an interview can be conducted only via a video monitor, for a conversation with Roger Mayweather about tonight.
Well, I told him to make the fight the easiest fight possible with Baltimore. And the key with a guy like Baltimore comes straight forward. It ain't like he do something special. What you have to do with my nephew is give him a strategy. He gonna stay with the strategy. But my recommendation would be to do what he do best. Do what he do naturally. If Floyd stick to the game plan and be Floyd, box, be smart, keep that jab on him, it's gonna be an easy fight. He has to tell Floyd one thing: stay off the ropes, keep fighting him, and keep checking him. That's all you have to do. Well, no, I trained him pretty much before I came in here. I still got to do my time. So once I do my time, then I'll be back to doing what I was doing before I came in here. And I was training for other fighters before I came here. So I don't think it's going to be anything different than when I get out.
Now we're back live at ringside with our expert commentator and the most celebrated trainer in the sport, Emmanuel Stewart. Emmanuel, Floyd Mayweather is as experienced, as aware, as knowledgeable as any 29-year-old fighter could be because of his background. But could there be a moment tonight in this fight when he could miss the voice of his Uncle Roger in the corner?
Yes. First of all, I believe that Floyd is in for a scuffle tonight. And if things get to be a little rough, he really needs to have someone that he can hear, a voice that he's used to listening to, that can give him some instructions. So in particular, a guy like Roger, who himself was a fighter, a world champion. Because this fight does not have to be necessarily an easy fight. Wet will be determined after the first 2 or 3 rounds.
Whenever a fighter's as good as Floyd Mayweather, whenever an athlete is as dominant as Floyd has been, there's a wish for competition. And Larry Merchant, it would have been impossible for all of us not to fall somewhat in love with Baldimir's great story, having come from selling feather dusters on the streets to get to where he is now. Have we given him too much of a chance?
Who isn't a sucker for a great story, Jim? Even if he is a 4-1 underdog. It's a real story. Feather dusters to riches, journeyman to champion. At 35, Carlos Baldemar is real. But Floyd Mayweather, in his prime, is considered an unreal virtuoso, an unreal boxing savant. I guess maybe the question is he the one who is exaggerated?
We shall wait and see. We're about to find out in just a few minutes. Now, tail of the tape for Mayweather and Baldemar. And you can see that Carlos Baldemar is 35 years old. He's really had 2 careers. One as a journeyman, during which he lost 9 times and had 6 draws. The second as a star fighter with a view of himself built on success, and in that sense, he's an unbeaten fighter. He hasn't lost in nearly 8 years. Mayweather 36-0. 1-inch height advantage for Floyd. A 2.5-inch arm length advantage, which could be significant from the armpit to the end of the fist for Floyd. He weighed in at 146, and showing what magnificent shape he's been in, the fact that he's a gym rat, the fact that this is the highest weight at which he's ever fought, he goes up overnight only to 149. Carlos Baldemar, who walks around at about 185, weighed in at 147, and was exultant at the fact that he was able to weigh in and make weight instantly upon stepping onto the scale. Tonight he weighs 162, unofficially. So unofficially, a 13-pound weight advantage for Baldemar in the fight tonight. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Carlos Baldemar Floyd Mayweather fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no 3-knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight. In case the cut is caused by an accidental headbutt, we go to the scorecards if the 4 rounds have been completed, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 12th and final round. Jim.
Floyd Mayweather has already held world titles at 130, 135, 140. He was given a title belt as the result of his win over Judah, because Judah still had one unaccountably. So even though he's held a title belt at 147, that's purely a statistical technicality. He hasn't been the champion of this division yet.
Well, in his own mind, he's the champion of every division, past, present, and future. He's the kind of performer who walks around like there's a band following him. You know, if he was a peacock, he'd never fold his feathers.
In his own mind, his pound-for-pound title is bigger than the welterweight title that Vladimir holds.
Well, and I think, frankly, fans are so confused by the panoply of belts in every division that many of them now pay more attention to the unofficial pound-for-pound ranking to identify who are the real stars in the sport. And incidentally, Floyd always says, Emmanuel, that this is a gladiator's sport, and now I know why he said it so many times leading into this fight.
Well, he's quite a showman, and I like the fact that even though he's wrapped up in all of his ego and all his other things he's doing, he still has trained properly for this fight. But other than that, I would actually favor Vladimir to beat it, except I know he's prepared himself very well.
Floyd shows up, shows off, and usually stops the show.
And incidentally, that shield is no giant exaggeration of the Mayweather body, because yesterday when he stepped onto the scales at the weigh-in, he looked way more like Roy Jones than ever before. A deeply muscled chest now, a rippled belly a la Jones, and rest assured that Floyd, who is something of a narcissist, who says that he takes a shower before he works out, is tremendously proud of the way he looks.
If he's that proud of the way he looks, maybe he should have foregone all of this kitschy showbiz stuff and showed us what he looks like.
Well, eventually we're going to get a chance to see. One thing, for almost certain, it's highly unlikely Carlos Vladimir is going to have a Halloween costume on.
Vladimir is one of those fighters who doesn't show off, he just shows up.
All over the world.
You know, even though Floyd has beat a lot of what we call big-name fighters, to me, this is the first real test that he's having as a professional fighter. Because I don't think he's ever been in with a guy that's coming in the ring with so much confidence and is really high-spirited and is great condition physically and mentally.
You know, it's interesting. If you compare Carlos Valdimir's human experience to that of other fighters, the valid analogy is Winky Wright. Just as Winky Wright had to wait a long time for respect in the United States and ultimately had to go to fight in Europe to get it, so too Carlos Vladimir had to leave his career in Argentina, had to leave his family behind, had to go on a nomad trip all around the world, ultimately to earn respect.
And you know what? The same as Winky labored in obscurity for all of those years and finally got his opportunity, and he took full advantage of it. Vladimir did the same thing. Whether he can do it tonight, but thus far this year, he's been fantastic, beating two fighters who were very highly respected in their own cities. And he feels very comfortable here tonight.
How poor was Vladimir as a younger man and fighter? He says when his children first tried spaghetti, having eaten a small bony fish that he used to get out of the local river, they asked if they had to take the bones out of the spaghetti.
As recently as a couple of years ago, he was driving a Pinto. Some of us remember Pintos. And his two victories this year over Zab Judah and Arturo Gatti match Mayweather's wins over the same opponents. Like Mayweather, he decisioned Judah. Like Mayweather, he knocked Gatti out. Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, Goose and Tudor Promotions, in association with Saquon Ringside Promotions, is proud to present the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the universally recognized welterweight championship of the world. Sponsored by True Dad Entertainment, Tycoon Armenian, Ice Link Watches, and the motion picture Rocky Balboa. Sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Chairman Dr. Tony Alamo. Executive Director Keith Kaiser, and the World Boxing Council President Jose Suleiman. At ringside, the 3 judges who will be scoring this contest on the 10-point system: Chuck Giampa, John Keane, and Paul Smith. And inside the ring, the man in charge of the action, your referee, Jay Nady. And now, for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, from the Mandalay Bay Resort Casino of Las Vegas, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing white with pink, official weight 146 pounds. Record, a perfect one. 36 bouts, 36 victories, including 24 knockouts. From Grand Rapids, Michigan, the undisputed pound-for-pound king of boxing, the undefeated former super featherweight world champion, lightweight world champion, super lightweight world champion, and welterweight champion of the world, pretty boy, Floyd Mayweather. And fighting out of the red corner, wearing white trimmed with blue, official weight 147 pounds. Professional record, 43 victories, including 13 knockouts, 9 defeats, 6 bouts even. He comes to the ring tonight undefeated for almost 8 consecutive years. From Santa Fe, Argentina, the reigning, defending, universally recognized, true welterweight champion of the world, Carlos Tata Baldame.
You do that better.
Do you have any questions? Okay. 12 rounds. Let's touch gloves and go to work.
Can Baldomir use his size to pressure and slow down the ultra-quick, ultra-talented Mayweather? That will be the story of this fight.
Round 1 begins. Carlos Tata Baldame and Floyd Mayweather in spectacular leather trunks. In fact, I believe they're ostrich skin. We've discussed this before, Emmanuel. They'll be heavy. They'll probably bring a great deal of sweat. Probably an athlete like this won't be affected very much.
I agree with you. As the fight goes on, not only they're longer, more material, and there's heavier material.
But Floyd would probably tell you that he could fight with an anchor strapped to his back and be just as good.
But so far, Baldame is making a mistake. He's fighting a technical cat and mouse type of a boxing match, which is going to permit Floyd to be more effective. He cannot be an intelligent fighter, which is what he's trying to do, and fight Floyd. He's going to have to be actually just an animal, just come in and fight. But he's fighting an intelligent fight right now, and you can't do that.
When Floyd Mayweather fought Arturo Gatti, there were a lot of ecstatic Gatti fans who thought their man was going to get a chance. Within the first minute of the fight, it was abundantly clear that the speed differential was simply too big. It wouldn't be terribly surprising if that turned up here as well.
Well, so far, Mayweather's taking control of the fight already. He's got Baldame trying to figure out what he's going to do to him, and that's the bad thing to do in the beginning.
And there's already a red spot on the center of Carlos Baldamir's nose, right on the bridge of the nose, indicating that Floyd has already managed to strafe him there with either a jab or a power punch.
He's too slow to fight a technical fight.
Nobody is going to outbox Floyd Mayweather.
No, he should just come in and just make him
Vladimir does have boxing skills, but he's got to sell out, and we'll see if he can.
Baldamir seems to be taking the first round just to learn for himself exactly how difficult it's going to be to box with Mayweather. Maybe at some point early on he'll make the decision to switch gears. He was able to box some of the time with jab Judah. In fact, he caught Judah with a counterpunch in the 7th round, after which Judah didn't seem terribly willing in the fight.
But Mayweather's a much better fighter, and he has a particular very good straight right hand that he does very effective.
But Baldamir excited the crowd by catching Mayweather with a little left hook over by the ropes. And now there's blood over the left eye of Baldamir. So already he's bleeding from 2 places in round number 1. Floyd doesn't even seem to have done very much.
If he's going to get stopped, it's going to likely be by cuts.
Well, particularly with the 13-pound weight advantage, if Mayweather were able to put a man on his back who outweighs him 13 pounds, that would be quite a feather in his cap, as if he needs more feathers in his cap.
Floyd is taking his time. He's going to be shooting a lot of straight right-hand leads off the bat. He's going to be pushing those off all night.
Mayweather's in the red corner, or check it, in the blue corner. Baldamir's in the red corner, and there's too much red in Baldamir's red corner. He's bleeding from above the left eye and the bridge of the nose. This is at the end of the very first round. And as we go there where they speak Spanish, our interpreter is Ray Torres.
Don't worry about this. It's nothing. It's a little scratch on the nose. Just a little scratch. It's nothing. Put some Vaseline on that cut. He lifts his elbow. You got to hit him in the body when he lifts his elbow.
It's hard to, you know what I mean?
Interesting that the man in front of Floyd Mayweather in his corner was cutman Rafael Garcia. Leonard Ellerby, who is the head trainer tonight, spoke to Floyd from the side, with Floyd looking out of the corner to talk to Leonard. Maybe Leonard's just more comfortable there, or wants Rafael Garcia, the cutman, to get a good look at Floyd's face all the time. The cut work had to be done in Baldamir's corner.
In fact, it bothered me that Baldamir seemed to be overly concerned about what cuts or facial damages he had, not the type of attitude a guy that's supposed to be a tough guy should have. But, at this stage right here, Baldamir is fighting the wrong fight.
Well, I think he's starting to come forward. I think he realizes what he's up against, and I think he's starting to try to put pressure on.
Neither fighter landed in double figures in the first round. It's very bad news for Baldamir that Floyd Mayweather landed only 8 punches and produced 2 cuts on Baldamir's face. Hard right hand by Baldamir lands over the top. Sneaky right hand lead. Mayweather seemed